everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Today we have a very special guest, good friend of mine, foot model extraordinaire, producer, actress, podcaster to the stars, Miss Nicole Matarese. Thanks for coming on.
Oh my gosh, thank you guys so much for having me. This is wild. I've been watching you guys on YouTube a lot, so to see you all in person is like I feel like I'm stepping into another universe. So yeah, thank you.
Thanks for coming.
So
Josh,
real quick,
Josh, I'm proud of you for not saying Nicole Mattress.
You would be the first. I'm kidding. I made that joke off mic. No, it's okay.
Just so everybody knows, that's voice text.
Sure.
Voice text. I haven't spelled Brandon's name right in 10 years? Something.
Never.
You know,
voice texted.
I was thinking that because you texted me like Dave and Brandon, and I was like, I know this guy spells his name with an I. Like I've seen it written. I was like, why are you just spelling it with an O?
All the time.
Yeah.
One day he'll
know this.
One day.
Anyway.
For the longest time, Dave was like, "How come you swear all the time, but then you exit out when?" And I was like, "Because I voice text and it just X's it out." So there you go.
No, I mean I've gotten texts from my fiance that are like, you could curse here, like it's okay, and I'm like, no, that was talk to text. So I get it. I do it all the time. That's okay.
See, Brandon, I'm not the only one that talks to my phone. All right.
Okay.
The first time I did it, he pulled over. We were going to like Jersey or something. And I was sending a text and he pulls over. He's like, "You all right?"
Is this a true story, Brandon?
We were in Jersey. That's when we did the Friday the 13th thing. But he was saying thank you to the people that had gotten married.
Yeah.
Like, congratulations on your marriage. I'm like,
it was a very beautiful wedding.
I'm like, wow, really?
Thank you for.
I love Nicole Mattress so much.
All right. So
So
Nicole,
that's what it is. If you say mattress, if you say mattress into the phone, it also come up as Matarese. Sorry, I had to get my awful joke in there, Brandon.
Oh, no.
Yes, what's up?
So how did you meet Josh? Like, because this whole little love fest, this little interview had as a collaboration from meeting Josh. So how did this happen?
Yeah, oh boy, I met Joshua on, actually I should not say oh boy, I'm changing the narrative here.
Oh boy.
I met Joshua on the amazing film set of Curse of the Weredeer. He has spoken much about it. I'm sure y'all have heard a lot of horror stories.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here to change that. It was a great time. It was a lot, but it was like a great time, Joshua, wouldn't you say? You met me.
Yeah. The best time was when Ben was like, "Hey, you're the producer. Can you reach out to all these whatever it was?" And Nicole was like, "Yeah, absolutely." Then she walks in the room. She's like, "Josh, you're not doing anything. Could you email everybody while I go over my lines?"
You got some nerve. You guys don't listen to him, I know, but because he's a shit stirrer. But
welcome to our world. Welcome to our world.
Let me rewind a lot.
Well,
So
there was one time we had a movie event and there was a few females there, and Josh had gone off and was telling people that me and Dave were actually a couple. So, and people actually believed it for a long time.
And now Brandon's engaged to one of those people.
I did hear that story. I feel like you told that story, Joshua, on the first episode when you were on Totally Tunular, because now this sounds very familiar.
Okay.
And you were like, it worked out for them.
It worked out.
It worked out. It worked out. It was just
me and Dave split up, So.
Yeah.
All right. Well, sorry for your loss, Dave. Brandon, happy, engagement. Where was I, guys? So I met Joshua, like I said, first off virtually, for my podcast, Totally Tunular. He came on once before I met him in real life. By the way, is my dog distracting? No? Okay. Cool. So he came on my podcast, Totally Tunular. From what I understand, Joshua, you and Ben met because of Weredeer. PVD Horror very generously donated, right, to the Indiegogo? Okay, cool. They connected. Joshua came on the show. Ben came on your show. And then the rest is history. We both end up in Bumblefuck, Tennessee, have the time of our lives. And now here we are.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So what really happened was they were like, "Hey, we need somebody to go to the store for us." And Nicole and I was the only one with a car. And Nicole's like, "Oh, I have the list and the money." I'm like, "All right." So she gets in the car and we're driving all over Tennessee in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And I had said something like, as long as you have your location on. She's like, oh, I don't have my location on. I'm like, you're in the middle of nowhere with a guy who looks like me, and you don't have your location on. What is the matter with you? And
yeah, I gotta self-reflect a
that,
little bit. It's absolutely right.
We became tight after that, Nicole.
I also want to rewind too. I was producing for an entire day. I set up an email account. I was emailing locations. And I also later in the week was acting in this amazing film, Curse of the Were-Deer. So I was like, Joshua, you're just like sitting on your butt. Why don't you go ahead and take on producing? And I very generously guided you on how to produce. So that way you could know for future film endeavors that you do. You're welcome. And then you did a great job, but I'm hesitant to say that now since you dissed me. So I don't know. Take it for what you will. Anyway.
I mean, we are talking about like a trauma movie, or at the time, maybe it wasn't a trauma, but it turned into a trauma movie. Josh, you're probably not the scariest looking person that's ever starred in a trauma movie. So let's just put that out there. And if we flash back to 2 years ago, I've been showing everyone I can a picture of Josh. He looked very clean cut, and
I saw that.
This guy.
I was looking through your tagged photos, Joshua, and I was like, "Who's this man?"
Who
like,
is?
like I was like, actually, like, who's this man? Because I met you as this man. I met you as the man that you are.
Thor, baby Thor.
Baby Thor. That's
Yeah,
a great nickname. I would take it if I were you, Baby Thor. Anyway, back to horror. So that's how Joshua and I met. Set of Curse of the Were-Deer, an amazing horror film set in Bumblefuck, Tennessee.
Here we are now.
Yeah, and then we got to do another podcast. We did Totally Tunular, I think, one more time, and then like you guys gave me a reoccurring segment for no reason whatsoever, and we just did another episode that should be dropping this Saturday, right? The G.I. Joe episode. We did.
Yeah, I'm
Joe.
not sure if by the time you guys post if it'll be this Saturday, but like, yeah, in this timeline, yes.
Probably be last Saturday.
Yeah, last Saturday, a recent Saturday.
Remember this past Saturday when that dropped? That was crazy.
Wasn't that an awesome episode? Thank you so much, Joshua.
I can't believe it.
Yay!
What you said something that I was going to correct you on. You know what? Forget it. Whatever. You're right. Whatever.
You'll have plenty of opportunities to correct them throughout this time. So.
I was like, there was an insult snuck in there. I guess I don't have the opportunity to comment on it, but whatever.
So now, can you tell our listeners what is Totally Tunular? What is that about? What do you guys talk about?
Yeah. Every week we talk about a new cartoon. Everything from like, we talk about horror. We talk about recent cartoons. We talk about nostalgic cartoons. Much to my co-host disappointment, we recently watched Fast and Furious, the animated series. That was my pick. I'll take the hit for that because I love the movies. Anyway, point being, we're all over the map. The four of us that are the hosts are myself, James, Leo, and Ben. All four of us are trauma people. James and I met way back, like before trauma, before he and I were like really in the independent filmmaking game, really, on Long Island. He's always kind of been like a guardian angel of mine and like this kind of world. We'll get to that more, I'm sure. So James met Ben and Leo on set of #Shakespeare Shitstorm. Okay. James and I both worked on Slashening 2 together, Slashening the Final Beginning. Lockdown. I mean, I think you guys are a similar ball game. Lockdown podcast seemed like the move to still communicate with your audience and audience in general. The rest is kind of history. So yeah.
Shout out to Diaper Mafia, Ben and Derek Johnson.
Yeah, thank you guys for being you. How about that? They're awesome.
Yeah. Shout out to James too. James is a pretty awesome guy. He
James?
does.
Yeah.
What's James's last name?
Boylan.
Boylan.
Boylan. Or lately he's been going by James Boy too. So either way you could find him.
He makes like 8 podcasts. Like it's amazing.
He's like, you know what? Now's as good enough time as ever to promote James. James absolutely rules. Like I am very, very fortunate to have him as a friend in my life. Anyone's fortunate to have a friend like James in their life. He's certainly presented me with plenty of opportunities in the trauma world, podcasting, you know, et cetera. So I'm very fortunate because a lot of people gatekeep and he does not. So thank you, James.
Yeah. And now you have to tell us about your podcast, your very own podcast.
Totally recommend this dude. Yeah, sure. As I just said, it's called Totally Recommend This Dude. And I found myself sending really long text messages to my friends about podcasts that they didn't care to read, which I understand. So I was like, okay, well, instead of doing this, I'm going to record myself talking about a podcast I'm really into monthly and like recommend it to the totally tunular audience, essentially, because that's more or less my audience. So yeah, that's it. I just like listen to a ton of podcasts. I listen to PVD Horror, love it. And yeah, so that's it. Yeah, and you can check all that out on the Fantasy Shed podcast network on Spotify.
Okay.
When's our episode dropping?
Oh, that was gonna do they October.
Where's the recommend PVD horror podcast? Huh?
It's not October. It's got to be October. Come on.
Is it typically horror movies or is it kind of all over the place, whatever your interests are?
It's all over the place. I mean, occasionally I have the bonus episode that's about like a reality show I'm watching or a book I'm reading or something. But I'm pulling up the list right now. Once I've done, I guess I don't need to read all of them. Like, okay, I listened to this really awesome podcast that my friend recommended called Waiting for Impact. Are you guys familiar with the band Sudden Impact? Y'all are a bit older than me, so I'm not sure if.
No.
Okay.
Wait a minute. What? What?
Older.
This is over.
You want to throw ages out there? I'm not that
That's
old.
true.
I'm the youngest in the group.
Also,
I am an offended 25-year-old man right now, you know?
I'm the youngest in the group, so.
I guess I assumed wrong.
Brandon just had his 21st birthday the other day.
Right.
All of you youthful gentlemen just seem so mature. I just assumed.
Now you're lying. Like, even worse.
Who, me? Anyway, let me try to dig myself out of that hole I just dug. Yeah, so Waiting for Impact is a podcast you might like, and a podcast that I talk about on my podcast. Totally recommend this dude.
Thank you.
Nice save.
Well, I gotta do something. My gosh.
All right.
So let's talk the Slashening part 2.
Okay.
We had watched it and we actually went like last year or the year before we did Trovember, and it was pretty hot. We got to talk with Lloyd and we did Rocco at the time and all that stuff.
It was pretty hot.
Yeah, it was hot.
It was hot and sexy.
Paris Hilton now?
That's so hot.
I'm old, remember? That's what they said.
Should I just go like?
That's what they said back in our time. That's hot.
You'll go crawl into a
Back in
cave
our
now.
time.
Yeah, things that never emerge. Anyway, so you were saying about Slashening too?
How was it being on set?
It was awesome. It was really awesome, and James helped me get the opportunity to be in it. He connected with Brandon. It was great. Really nice time. I filmed the final scene of the movie first. I mean, to be blunt, got a couple lines, which like, I mean, my parts were pretty small in the movie, but like, I don't know, as an actor, like that's pretty exciting. To be in a trauma movie with lines. My other scene is with Lloyd. So like, you know, particularly awesome for that reason as well. Of course, he's the man. And yeah, I mean, it's really awesome. Like there's a bunch of really awesome people that work on trauma movies, which I feel like is not surprising, right? Like, I mean, trauma movies are super fun, and they're lowbrow, highbrow, right? They like are silly and gross while still making commentary on like the shitty parts of our society. So unsurprisingly, you get really cool people that work on these movies. And Slashing the Final Beginning was one of them. So yeah, it was awesome.
There's a lot of like gross out like genitalia gore in that movie. It's pretty amazing.
Stop. I respect the creative minds. Let's just say that.
Yeah, definitely. So now your scene with Lloyd, like, did he stick to the script? Because when we did a question and answer with him, it was just like all over the place, like Dave said before. It was like and he like spins everything around. So like when you were doing a scene with him, did he stay on track, or like how did it go? Did it just become like a freestyle?
Oh my God, y'all are putting me on the spot as revenge, right? For before. You know, Lloyd. I'd say a little bit of everything, allow for some improv, because Lloyd is Lloyd, and anything he says is like hilarious and great. But yeah, he was like respectful of the scene and everything. And so let's say a balanceable, which I think is great for.
I feel like he just knows what to say a lot of times, or if he doesn't know what to say, he'll make somebody else say it for him. So
right,
he knows what to do.
Yeah, I listened to the episode about the hashtag Shakespeare shitstorm screening, and it was when y'all commented on that I was like, the first time I met Lloyd was on Long Island at a screening of the second Newcomb High, the Return to, and he was doing that with James. Like he was like, so James, what do you think about Trauma Dance coming up? And I was like, wow, yeah, he does totally do that with people. I don't know, I think it's I think it's great.
Brandon, why don't you tell Nicole how you and Lloyd met?
I'm sure. Oh no, because when we had him on the show, and he goes, "Oh, Brandon, it's you. We met off a Grinder."
Like, oh, that's right. I did. Yeah. Oh, that's great. Good for you guys. Whatever.
We're happy. That actually made me and Dave's relationship had rocky times. You know what I mean?
I had a hard time trusting Brandon after that one.
I'm really, that really breaks my heart, you guys.
Like Lloyd, so sorry, he was sending me pictures, and Dave was like, "Who's this?" And I'm like,
"How come you don't send me pictures?"
It's Lloyd, okay? It's fucking Lloyd. You got me.
Hey, at the live event, he wouldn't hold anybody's hand but Brandon.
Told him.
He's like,
Brandon. I mean, that's really sweet too. And like cute. He's like an adorable person. I think he's like so cute.
Yeah.
It's so funny because a lot of people know him as like the gross out humor guy, but like I see him post on Instagram, and I was like, you're like an adorable man. Like,
yeah, he takes care of his wife, their little blue apron, like little cooking videos.
Yeah. Oh, it's so funny when so the first time I met him, like I said, screening on Long Island, return to, and his wife was there.
Mm-hmm.
And like, holy crap, what a power couple, right? Like,
great.
It's like, oh, here's, Lloyd Kaufman, who like I'd heard of him, of course, and like Pat Kaufman, who was the film commissioner of New York. I was like, are you kidding me? This is the coolest. So the next time I saw Lloyd was on set for Slashening 2. And I was like, your wife is really cool. He's like, yeah, she is really cool. Like, just like we had that bonding moment of like, you have like the coolest wife, right? Like, what a family, for real.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll just go with my wife's awesome.
Yeah, I've heard you say that before. I believe it.
Everyone has.
How many times have you heard him say it though?
How many episodes we have?
We should tally it up.
You mean just on set or on this show? No, I'm kidding. Well,
on set there were reasons I was saying that. There was snakes everywhere, and I'm like, I'm just a married guy rubbing my ring and stuff. Like, got my wife and kids at home. Please don't rub your hooch on me.
I do love the story of you and anyway, Ben Terry, the assistant director on set, was really awesome. The two married dads, they formed a bond. Right?
Yeah.
Dave, you need to make like a TikTok that like tallies up all of Josh. I love my wife.
My wife.
Hi, wife. I love her so much.
Well, if she ever listens to this podcast, I need to earn points. I'd be like, well, I said that without even being prompted. So that's the whole idea.
But then
right?
you tell that you always like tell the director that like this is the part that made you like your wife sit down and watch the movie with you, but then she didn't like it.
No, the one that I love is when he says, "So you guys been married for years? You got any advice about marriage?"
What is the key to a happy marriage?
We're talking about this guy's new movie coming out, you know what I mean?
Hey, I need to know. I need to stay married. All right. I need people to take care
of
me.
You don't need to, Josh. You want to. Remember that.
Well, I give you credit that you even, I don't know, like, so I barely, it's funny. I was away in Bumblefuck, Tennessee for a week, right? Met up with a bunch of men some random hotel somewhere. My
And
fiance,
wearing your bra the whole time.
well, towards the end, bikini. Anyway, barely texted my fiance the whole time, which like him and I have like totally done that sort of thing before. Which I know terrifying Joshua. I should have shared my location with him. Whatever. Got back from set, and he was like, "So like, how was it?" I was like, "I don't know." Like I have so many emotions right now and so much to feel. I like can't put to words. Like stories will come out, I'm sure, as like life goes on. But like right now, I just got nothing to say.
Josh, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Focus.
I was checking our website.
Why?
I was browsing Google.
I don't have internet in the library, and all of a sudden,
Nicole Matarese wiki feed really fast. Let me just make sure that's still live.
Let me put that in my Google Doc.
Yeah. So Nicole, can you comment on this? No, I'm kidding. Anyway,
we were supposed to do a roundtable about Scary Movie.
Do we want to? I'm down.
Yeah.
Do it.
I'm down for it.
Kick it off. Scary Movie. Go.
The movie rules. The first one rules.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's really, I mean, if you guys don't think it rules, definitely this is the space to talk about it. I don't, whatever. I'll talk on Totally Teen about how
I thought, are we talking about all the Scary Movie films or just the first one? Like, what are we doing here? We can talk about all.
Let me tell you.
All of them, but I could only make it through 3. 3 was so bad, I couldn't make it through the rest.
All right, so here's the thing. So, like, I grew up like a big Wayne's Brothers fan. They made the first 2 films, and so for years, I had just recently looked back, like, 'cause when you guys wanted to do this, like, round table about Scary Movie, I kind of looked into it a little bit more. And for years, like, I would always say, like, the first 2 movies are great from this franchise, but the rest of them kind of like sucked to me.
Yeah.
But like I said, I'm a Wayne's Brothers fan, and it was always kind of put that they sold the franchise.
Yeah.
And they didn't. It was actually, they actually got fired by Harvey Weinstein, him and his family. They fired the Wayne's Brothers, and then they kind of just took it over. And
that's fucked up.
Yeah, so that's why I was just like, wow, like for years, these guys have been going around just saying, like, yeah, like we sold it, like being like respectful about the whole situation, not making a big deal about it. And I think that was like really cool of them guys to kind of handle business that way. But it sucks that, those films fell apart. But, the real fans can definitely see that, the big downfall from that shit. And so like Marlon Wayans actually did like an interview with Kevin Hart. And so Kevin Hart's in the third movie. And so he was sitting there like, yeah, dude, I was signed on to it. Me and Anthony Anderson was signed on to it, thinking like, where the fuck's Marlon and Sean?
Oh.
And then they're not there. And it's just like, what the fuck? And then so I was just like, damn. So yeah.
Can I just say that's ridiculously awful? That's like the worst thing I've heard maybe all day. I hate that a lot. Yeah. I really hate that. My gosh. Because it's like, I don't know. It's just terrible on so many levels. I mean, but it's just proof that when they were on board, right, the movies were just so much better.
Yeah.
Well, you're kind of like signing on to something under false pretense when you think that it's going to be a certain direction with them involved, with their involvement, and then it's something totally different. I mean, if I remember, the third one's the one with like Charlie Sheen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one was like the start of it going downhill. It wasn't like, obviously not the worst. I don't even know the fourth and fifth one. I couldn't even tell you which one's which. I just know one had Anna Faris, or what was it her that was in it? And the aliens, whichever one that was did the Signs ripoff was.
Yeah.
I could not even like.
That was 3, but 4 was War of the Worlds.
War of the Worlds. All right, that was one.
And 5, I did watch it. It's and it's not even, Anna Faris isn't even in it. I mean, I think that says enough, right?
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, so I think like the people like Leslie Nielsen signed on for the third one because the people that did the Naked Gun films, they were the ones that took over the films from there. So that's what kind of like twist and everything to it. So I enjoyed those movies, the Naked Gun movies, like when I was younger. But I think kind of like coming in, taking over like a whole franchise and like adding that to something that was already there, just that won't work,
Yeah.
The Naked Gun movies were great, though.
Yeah, but if you come in with a Naked Gun, like scary movie, it's gonna be like,
Could have brought OJ back,
Dude, So I rewatched the first couple, and I was laughing hysterically. Like,
Yeah.
I forgot how fucking hysterical those movies really were. And
Mhm.
the first one, it was all the cameos. Like, I was popping. I was like, "Ow!" And, like, it was all what was it? In Living Color people
Yeah.
just showing up and then leaving, and every time they show up, oh, that's so and so. And my kids are like, "Dad, shut the fuck up!" Like, you guys know how I get. I get so excited about absolutely nothing. Um,
I do too. That's
they're
okay.
so good. They're so good. Like,
They are. No, I agree. And I think that like I mean, to be blunt, I think they're good like standalone movies. Like I have no doubt that I saw a Scary Movie before I saw Scream, to be completely honest. It was just like yeah, it was just like I don't know, just this how I went. I really wanted to see Scary Movie. In fact, when it was in theaters, I remember begging my mom to see it. She wouldn't allow me to because I was not 13. I wrote about it in my writer's notebook. You know, you guys ever have that in like grade school? I was like, I wish my mom would let me see Scary Movie. Anyway, so yeah, I was dying to see this by the time I like was able to. And I watched Scream and I was like, oh yeah, I get that reference. That's cool, blah blah blah. But point being that like I didn't think Scary Movie and Scary Movie 2 like are great like movies, while the rest are just like straight up like, oh, check out what we're spoofing right now. Right. You know? So
I mean, yeah, those two films kind of started the whole spoof like genre. I think Not Another Teen Movie. I'm trying to think of what the other ones. I know Dance Flick was a little later.
Like, there's like Date Movie.
Date right? Movie.
There was
Student Movie. I saw too many of those. Wait, what? Sorry, say it again.
There was Student Bodies. That was a horror knockoff in the 80s where like somebody gets killed with an eggplant and stuff. But it was nowhere near as good as Scary Movie.
No, these films really started that whole trend of like, let's take the popular films that just happened and make, there's a superhero one too. I can't remember which one that one was. Kim Kardashian, I think, was in it, like had a cameo in it and stuff.
Yeah, that might have been Epic Movie.
I think that's it. Yeah. That's the thing. Like those guys been like the Wayans brothers been making like spoofs for years, so for them to kind of like take it to like that level and do like the horror films. I remember they had talked about it and they were saying like, let's make a movie on this, like, because we're so sick of these like cheesy horror films. And so let's just kind of like roll with it. And so it's funny because the original name for Scream was actually Scary Movie, for the title. And so they were able to like shorten it because they wanted to make it like this long title called like, I'm gonna kill you. I know what you did last summer on Hot Lake in October. It was like something crazy. And their older brother, Keenan Ivory Wayans, was like, look, guys, no, we need like a good fucking title. So it was just like, all right, fine, Scary Movie.
Brandon, you just made me think of it. Actually, was Don't Be a Menace to South Central or Drinking Your Juice in the Hood before Scary Movie?
Yeah, that was way before that. That was probably around like 94, 95 or something. So
so I guess that would be like the OG of the parodies.
Yeah, but the Wayans brothers hit their brother Keenan Ivory Wayans. It all goes back to like, I'm gonna get you, sucker, and stuff like that. So like copying Shaft and stuff like that. So they've been doing that for years. Blank Man.
Yes, Blank Man.
Dude. All I remember was the fucking missile, and he's like, "What you say about
my mama?"
Like, I fucking love that shit.
Brandon, you make a really good point. And I think it's that like the reason, let's say, that I saw Scary Movie first was because I watched it in high school, and in high school I wasn't watching scary movies. I started watching them horror movies and got more into the genre in college. To be blunt, I was too afraid, whatever. So it was like an accessible way because it was like comedic, and I was like familiar with the Wayans brothers and Anna Faris. I'm trying to pronounce your name. Anyway, it was like a good way to get into the horror drama as like a young person. It's like, okay, like this isn't too scary, but like I like the element of horror in it and also like meshing with the comedy. So
So I remember like the first time I seen that film, I'd seen it opening night though, Scary Movie, the first one. I'd seen it in the theater. So my older brother had taken me and my friends, and then like he had his date. And like it was probably like one of those nights that you always remember, like you just going out and just like hanging with your friends, and like we were just laughing our ass off, and you would just go home and kind of like repeat the whole film and
Yeah.
shit. And then I remember I had just went home and I ended up getting it on bootleg because I was just like, all right, I'm not gonna wait till this shit comes out on DVD. Like this shit was so funny, and it just like changed the game of everything for the comedy at the time. And like it still holds up. And we actually watched it with my kids last summer,
Nice.
and we like watched the first two movies, and the third, like the other films, we just kind of got lost and was like, I can't deal with these. I'm not going to show you guys these films.
It's, it's funny because I'll tell you guys, I watched all 5 last week.
Yeah.
I did. I watched all 5 last week. I wanted to be caught up. By the 4th one that I was putting on, my fiance was definitely like, can you pause this a second? I did. He's like, should we and he was dead serious. He's like, should we talk? Like, are you okay? You're literally turning on the 4th scary movie from the past 48 hours. I was like, no, I totally forgot to tell you, the other podcast I'm doing next week along with mine, we're talking about scary movies. And he was like, oh my gosh, I was really concerned. I'm not doing well for other reasons, but this one, totally, don't worry. So, I understand not wanting to show your kids, frankly, anything past 2, really. Yeah. It's tough from there.
Yeah.
You know what got me was the opening scene where he's like, does this make me look gay? And the guy's like, no.
I love that.
So then he puts the shirt through the thing. He's like, how about now? And I had a friend of mine who he was gay Brad. And he was like, I don't think this makes me look gay enough. And he would always tie his shirts because that's how you knew he was gay. And I busted out laughing because, now it's really accepted. In the 90s, it wasn't so much, even then. And you had to I don't know, Brad would just do that all the time. So people would know he was gay. It was really bizarre. And I just learned that right away. And I was like, oh, what the fuck? Remember that? It was such a timepiece but it still carries to this day. It was still fucking amazing to this day. So
yeah, and I still catch heat from that film because Sean Wayne's his character's name was Ray, and so the guy that he would always sit there and talk about that he would like, his name was Brandon. So he would hey Brandon, so it was that running joke, and so everybody would kind of fuck around and oh yeah, Brandon, he's talking about you. I'm like, shut the fuck up, you know what I mean?
Put on the shoulder pads. Now put on the helmet.
The Wayans brothers in these movies are just perfect. I mean, really, I don't know. I forget the other brother's name, but the one who plays Shorty. I mean, he's just
Marlon.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, he's just perfect in it. I love when they're getting off the bus. Him and what's her name? Brandy? No. I'll have to look it up, whatever. Him and the woman get off the bus and he's like, your mother. And she's like, we have the same
sister.
Yeah. He's like, your father. And she's like, I don't know him. I don't care. And he's like, oh yeah, I don't know mine either. And looks up. I don't know. They're just perfect in it as characters that as a stoner character, which could be perceived as so stupid. He just nails it. I don't know. It's awesome.
Yeah. And I think the whole thing with the killer reveal, with Doofy, it was just what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, that is amazing. And that's a what's the movie it knocks off? I read this on the Wikipedia page. The Usual Suspects, I think. Anyway.
Okay, yeah. So when it ends.
Yeah.
By the way, the character's name is Brenda. Him and Brenda get off the bus. Anyway. Yeah.
Speaking of knocking off, the best scene in this whole thing was the sex scene.
The one between Anna Faris and her boyfriend.
Dude, that was insane. My brothers and I both my adopted brothers, we talked about that forever. We all saw it, and that we would just walk around
Yeah. I feel when I saw that the first time, I was like, what? There was so much going on. Up until the moment where Anna Faris is on. No, her boyfriend's on the ceiling. Who's on the ceiling? Her or her boyfriend? I forget.
Her.
I was just
Are we in the second movie already?
No, it was the first one. where like first she had the electric belt, and then
and like the afro, and he's like cutting it, weed whacker.
And then when he goes, he like and like sinks in, and she goes flying and gets like Freddy Krueger on the sand.
I thought you were talking about part 2, like when that guy had let off and then she went to the sailing.
It was the same thing in the second one.
Oh they do call back to that. You're absolutely right. They do the same. It's just like and she's like hits the wall. They're in like the ice
dude.
Ice room.
Anna Faris had the best facials through the whole movie. She sold everything like she just like I fucking loved it.
What a cultural icon, right? Like, I mean, like, look, I know 3 and 4 are not as good, but like she fucking carried those movies.
Oh, yeah.
If anyone carried those movies on their shoulders, it's good for any reason, it's her. My gosh. And I think if I read this accurately, that it was her first acting role. I think she was just like she
like as a lead actor, maybe, because she was in Lover's Lane in '99, I think.
Okay.
So that was
I could have read it wrong, but like regardless, like really early on in her career, right?
Yeah, because I think Scary Movie was 2000, if I remember correctly, right?
Yeah, but she probably filmed them around the same time.
Yeah.
And so that's why, like a few actors kind of get that stuff mixed up. I think even Hal Havens, his film from Night of the Demons and what is it? His other film, they were kind of like recorded this. I mean, they were filmed the same year, and so they kind of go back and forth, and people kind of get like mistaken, like, oh, well, that was your first film. He's like, oh no, but this one was. And I was like, all right.
That is interesting.
It gets flipped around. It's all about like the release date. So,
did you say Hal Havens?
Yeah.
Oh, in case you guys didn't know, the Coolidge, November 31st at 11:59 p.m. We're doing a midnight showing of Night of the Demons with a Q&A followed by Hal Havens himself.
I feel like I'm on like public access. Did you say Hal Havens? Yes, I did. Well, you're in luck.
I'll tell you what, shameless plug for our PVD horror event coming up at the Coolidge in Boston. No, it's not Boston. What is it?
Brookline. It's like
Brookline.
Right there.
I missed that accent. Boston. I'm from the Northeast too. I'm from New York. But anyway, that was rich. That was good.
That was rich.
Good.
So yeah, where were we? Yeah.
What was your favorite scene in the first one?
I mean, it's really hard to not like any scene that Shannon Elizabeth is in. She's very attractive, obviously. Particularly the scene. Also has great acting abilities, of course. The scene where she's on stage and her boyfriend is like getting murdered and she's delivering like what everyone thinks is a monologue. She's like, no. And everyone's just like, wow, like this is like amazing. And she wins. And she's like, fuck that guy, whatever. She's like crying. She's like, fuck him, I won. Just like, wow. Like, I don't know, nailed it. Like nailed it. That's amazing. So yeah, how about you, Joshua? Tell me your favorite scene.
When Shorty gets shot and he's like, yeah, that was I did a lot of drugs back then, so I could totally relate.
So interesting thing, which like we all caught, I'm sure. They're back in the second movie, and it's not addressed that they died, and I love that. Like, yeah, here they are, whatever. So,
Dave, what's your favorite?
I don't think it's my favorite, but one of the scenes that always like stuck out to me because of how relevant it was at that time, but now is not relevant at all, is remember like the Bud Light thing where they go, what's up?
Yeah.
And they're all like at the time though, that was like the most popular thing in the world. Everybody said that to each other. Anytime you called someone, you would do that to them. So like then referencing that, and now it's like so out of date. Like,
well, guys, guess who's doing that for the next?
Yeah, exactly. It's so funny because there's so many people who probably have no idea what that reference is.
Nah.
I didn't.
No, it was a whole series of Bud Light commercials that they would just do that to each other, and like it would be friend after friend calling each other.
It was like one of the main like Super Bowl commercials one year.
Yep.
So.
That's really funny because if someone was to say, you know, what's up like that, I would like think of it as a reference to Scary Movie, which is
Yeah.
kind of wild. Yeah, it's kind of wild how things in zeitgeist, anyway,
Yeah. Yeah.
affect all of us. But relevantly enough,
I feel like you're interviewing us. Like, you got like
I know.
any questions?
I tend to do that because like my original passion was like journalism. So yeah, I like
this just in.
Yeah, this just in. I played a news reporter in Curse of the Werewolf too, which was awesome. But back to Scary Movie. Scary Movie 2. Okay, so similarly, you know how "What's Up" is like an iconic line. In the second movie, Chris Elliott is out the window, right? And David Cross, I'm just gonna say the actor's name. David Cross is hanging down, right, from the side of the wall. And Chris Elliott says an iconic line, right, to David Cross, take my strong hand or whatever, use my strong hand, right? Like that's something that like we all, like, that's a Mandela effect. I don't know if y'all are familiar with the Mandela effect. Yeah, rewatch that scene. He does not say use my strong hand. Like he actually does not, but that's like probably the most quoted thing in that movie.
What does he say?
It's wild. He just says like, it's funny. I
and
recorded the scene.
The
Like,
other hand, and he goes, no, this is the strong hand.
Yeah. They're like, no. He's like, take my hand. Right. And David Cross is like, no, give me your other hand. He's like, no, this is my strong hand. And like, yeah. So he never actually says.
Wow. Was it in the previews maybe? Is that why people misquote it?
It might have been.
That's a good question.
There's
That's an interesting layer.
There's this preview for a movie back in the day called Blank Check, which Brandon, I know, will probably know that reference. And in the preview, he makes this, I think it's a Beavis and Butthead quote, and it's not in the film at all, but it's like the thing that I always think of whenever I think of the movie Blank Check. So like sometimes I guess, the cut scenes end up in the trailers.
Yeah, they did that a lot. There was a lot of films that did that back in the day. They kind of just draw you in and you're sitting there waiting for it and you're just like, where the fuck was it? Like, he didn't say it. And he's like, after the film, you like sitting there talking. I'm like, yo, he did not say that. And it was like, and then you go back to the ads and like you said, it is weird. A lot of people, they did that a lot back in the day.
Yeah.
That is interesting.
All the time. Brandon, what was your favorite part of the first one?
When they were at the police station and so they were saying, hey, Doofy, smell my fingers. And he goes, what's that? He goes, becoming a man. He goes, all right, yeah, smell this. He goes, what's that? My ass.
Yeah. Goofy was the best.
Yeah.
Oh.
Or the vacuum cleaner part.
Oh, yeah.
Me when I'm cleaning my room.
I love that.
That's great. Me and my younger sister Laura, my adopted parents had a vacuum like that, and we used to leave it right outside my brother's door. And we'd be like, Charlie, quit fucking the vacuum. We used to fuck them all the time. That was great.
That's very funny. That's very funny.
Got to bring out the whole family today.
That was funny. Sorry, I'm also just reading the Wikipedia page and seeing if there's any other scenes I thought were particularly iconic that I wanted to talk about.
Here's a question: what's the second one better than the first one?
Yeah.
Over time, it definitely. It's like I think it's more like I think the second one is better, but the first one definitely set it off. And
that's such a hard question though, right?
Yeah.
Because they're two totally separate like films. Like I know they're both like horror parodies, but they're like separate themes, I guess. I don't know. Like the first one is just like to me iconic because of that feeling you got when you for Scream, and I know what you did last summer. So it's like I don't know. I watched that and I associate with those films, and the Scary Movie 2 is like I associate like in a kind of a different place. So I don't know. I don't know if I could choose one.
Yeah, because it starts off with The Exorcist, and and then it starts touching on everything like Scream 2 at the movie theater.
Yeah,
and it just goes everywhere, and it just shows how much they grow as like comedians and writers also, because they wrote those films and just being creative, and so it was also like like I said, like their brother was Keenen Ivory Wayans and was the one that just called the shots.
That's right. Oh my gosh, yeah.
They wanted to make a film, and it's like say if you had a younger sibling, you're like, all right, whatever, here, go do this. And it was just like to the point where they just had to become like so creative and just write all these fucking jokes and doing all this stuff just to impress their brother. And said, and they're looking at it and it goes, okay, yeah, well, this one works, this one doesn't. And so it was just like that process for them to become better, you know. And it was just great just watching that development over the years and both films. So
yeah.
And it had the Paperboy in it.
what's up?
Why don't I remember what's the Paperboy story? Why don't I remember this?
That's the guy with the little hand. He played the Paperboy. That was his
Elliott.
show.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
It was what was that?
Oh, yeah.
What was that show?
Paperboy,
Life Stinks?
Paperboy was
Chris Elliott.
show, yeah, before that. Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
It wasn't it Life? It wasn't Life Stinks or something like that, or
Yes,
Yeah.
the fucking Paperboy from Life Stinks.
Yeah.
He would
Oh, okay.
every episode.
I used to love that show. Yeah.
He fucking died one time. He died in like 3 episodes choking on cereal. Like that guy's he's a fucking comedic genius.
Yeah.
And the whole thing with the hand, like
That was great.
all right.
Obviously iconic. Yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything you didn't make? He's like, I didn't make this. And then and he sticks his finger in it and shit.
Oh, that's a great bit. Yeah.
My
Yeah.
strong hand.
Yeah, and the second film actually starts off with James Woods, and he's actually from Rhode Island. He lives in Warwick. He grew up, well, yeah, I think he grew
Oh,
up.
wow.
Yeah, but he lives in Warwick, so that was.
Is he there now?
Hospital.
Yeah.
Is he there?
There's a pawn shop that does high-end jewelry. And he hangs out there sometimes.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm not gonna name it in case people,
Did he win his lawsuit against Kent County Hospital?
I'm not sure. What happened?
I don't think. I mean, it's. I forget. I think something like his brother passed away there or something, and he was suing.
No,
It was
okay.
like it was lasted for a while. I can't remember, but I wonder if he won.
he didn't act after that.
Yeah, I don't think that went over well.
No, it didn't.
Rough.
Yeah, but there's James Woods High School, so that's a thing.
Shout out to James Woods.
What?
That John Carpenter's vampire film.
Wait, so there's a movie there's a school in Rhode Island named after the actor James Wood. Am I understanding that correctly?
No, there really isn't, but it's in. Everyone thinks there is because it's in Family Guy.
Can you stop messing with me? Oh my God, I'm really gullible and I don't appreciate it.
No, but it's true.
There's
It's,
like a
it's
school,
true though. Like
Everything,
there's a school
everybody
in
thinks.
Hollywood named after an actor. It could, I forget the actor's name, but it could be.
But it happens though, because we like anything that happens in Family Guy, people think that really happens here. So. It's
oh yeah. Oh, I love Rhode Island. I can't wait to visit Quahog. Like no, Quahog's the thing you fucking eat. All right. Like.
Wait, the town in Family Guy. You guys
Yeah,
are
it's
like
in
open
Rhode
to.
Island.
I've been to Rhode Island once. I went to Newport. Quahog, Family Guy set in Rhode Island?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, we have a bay, and everybody walks out on the bay with the rakes, and they rake up their quahogs,
Yeah.
and then everybody eats quahogs. So like, it's a Rhode Island thing that apparently only fucking Rhode Island people do. So
Interesting. Huh.
We're just the only ones who call them quahogs.
Yeah.
yeah, that too.
I was gonna say, what's a quahog?
It's
I'm like,
a type of
I know
clam.
it.
It's a
Is
type
what-
of clam.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Delicious.
Delicious.
I mean,
Not,
yeah, the
not as
seafood.
good as our hot wieners though.
Yeah. Yeah. And what is it? The Simpsons is based off of like Springfield, Mass.
I thought that they never really confirmed it. Did they end up confirming it? Wasn't there like it's either Springfield, Ohio, Springfield, Mass? And
There's
then-
a Springfield in every state in the United States, which is why they picked Springfield.
yeah, I thought it
Oh.
was ambiguous, and they were like wanted people to guess.
Yeah, but the actual layout is in Ohio or some like
Oh.
random state in the middle of the country. Geographically laid out wise, somebody nailed it down. Max knows, he's a Simpsons expert.
Yeah,
So,
newly appointed Simpsons expert since he watched
Yeah.
every episode in the last 2 weeks.
I'm like, what
Nice.
season are you on? It's 23. I'm like, okay.
like, calm it
Why?
down.
Why?
And then he watches YouTube videos about the Simpsons. I'm like, why don't you just watch the fucking Simpsons? Like,
I can do
No,
that
it's
though.
crazy. YouTube's for everything. My son watches people play video games. I'm saying the same thing. Why don't you go play the fucking game yourself?
Yeah,
I say that to Max all the time. Like, why are you watching this idiot play video games? And then he goes and plays video games and he says all the same shit. Like, oh, it drives me nuts.
We're just jealous because we're not playing video games on YouTube, so maybe we're in the wrong market here.
We'll start soon.
Yeah,
Horror
we have
gaming.
PvP horror Twitch.
Let's do
We're
it.
just, we're just waiting for that Texas Chainsaw Massacre game to come out. We'll be on there.
Yeah, and what was it Killer Clowns from Outer Space?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
So Gun Media, shout out to you guys. You're definitely killing it. Appreciate it. Can't wait to check those 2 games out.
Is Killer Clowns gonna be out on PlayStation 5 or is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, you have the PS5, huh? I have that too.
I do.
Gamer tag. What games do you play?
I mean, I'm trying to play Grand Theft Auto 5. I'm absolutely awful at it, and I have my fiance beat the levels for me so I could walk around fake LA. My thing is more so Pokemon Snap.
Okay.
Nintendo Switch. Do you have a Switch?
Yeah, I have a Switch. I have all the systems.
What games are you playing? I'm flipping the script. Tell me what games you're playing.
Check this out. This is what I'm trying to play. It's a Nintellivision, right? And this is the controller, and you slide the card in, and then this really the video game. Yeah, this
That's not what I was expecting.
Armor Battle. That's my favorite game on Intellivision. See it come out. It's a cartridge. It's a cartridge game. I know you never seen one of those, Nicole. Go in right there. So this is the same machine I played when I was a kid. My auntie gave it to me, but I can't hook it up to any TVs because it's not compatible.
You gotta get the wire that's on Amazon. You can.
I tried it. I think the inside is fried, and if that's the case, it's fucking unrepairable. I might just buy a new one.
I feel like you could go to a thrift store and buy an old TV and plug it in.
Oh, I got so many games, and I got all the cards and the instructions.
All right, so back to Scary Movie 2. I'll tell you why it's my favorite scary movie and why I think it's the best one. Tim Curry. That's it. It's just because of Tim Curry. Like, they got Tim Curry? Like, that's, come on, that's iconic. I mean, no, but really, like, I do think that other than that, Scary Movie and Scary Movie 2 are pretty much equally as amazing. Tim Curry just puts 2 like a little bit over that edge. That's it.
Tim Curry, as you mentioned, like Chris Elliott and David Cross, right there. That is such a dynamic 3 to have in any film. So yeah, they definitely bumped it up with those 3.
So so here's the thing, all right? So since you say Tim Curry bumped it up for part 2, so here's another film that Tim Curry is also in the sequel, which is also hard to pick from the first and the second. Home Alone.
In New York.
Home Alone 2. What do you like better?
Oh my gosh, I feel like I have not seen Home Alone 2 enough. Don't hate me. Oh, I've seen Home Alone a lot. I feel bad not seeing Home Alone 2 enough and judging. So I'll get back to you. Right now I say Home Alone though. It's like, it's Home Alone. But what do you say? What do you think?
I always say kind of like 2. I had seen 2 in the theater, and I just like films that kind of like take the character out of the like original element and kind of do something different. So I thought it was cool that he was like lost in New York. Also, one of my favorite films, Jason Takes Manhattan, because he's in New York.
Nice.
It's different, you know what I mean? I like to switch up. Shut your fucking face, Josh. I see you.
Summer Camp Nightmare also took place in New York, upstate New York. What do you think of that?
All right. Well, I'm just saying. It's hard, like I said, for some films it's hard to pick the first or the second one, and I think Scary Movie 1 and Scary Movie 2 and Home Alone 1 and Home Alone 2 are definitely films that are kind of hard to kind of pinpoint which one's the best.
You didn't see part 1 in the theater, Brandon?
No.
I'm kind of surprised. I feel like
what year did that come out?
That's what I'm trying to remember.
I probably did, but I remember seeing 2 in the theater because it was like a big thing, and it was like a sold out event. Like when the theater was cool to go to, like where every seat was fucking filled in there, and then like even the concession stands on the side, like when you're walking down the like to the movie theater, were like up and running. You know, you remember those days?
I have actually Home Alone 1 was like that for me. It was sold out when I went. I remember it was packed. Independence Day and Godzilla, I remember sitting in the front row because all the seats were full, and I'm like this the whole time. And like that was the shit though. It was like it was horrible, but it was awesome at the same time.
The concession stands, you remember, on the side that it just have like the candy, but nobody's there, the lights are off. those were always on. So it was like kind of cool that you didn't have to go all the way to the main lobby. You can just kind of walk out and like go right there. So those are the times when like the theater was like really, really fun to go to. Like they still are, but like growing up as a kid.
That was before everything was streaming.
Yeah.
Yeah. Back
I don't know why they stopped having like the candy bars in like in the hallways, like you said. I don't know why they like stopped doing those. Yeah, and I don't know, and the theaters just kind of lost. Well, I mean, price increases and all that stuff. Like, I don't know, probably a lot of reasons, but.
Yeah.
But the thing is too, it was like, what was it? The other day was last Saturday was cinema day or something like that, and tickets were $3. And we went to go see Bodies, and the fucking theater was packed. I'm just sitting there, just like, I looked at me and Lauren were talking. I was like, why don't they just fucking drop ticket prices? And it will be like this all the time. You know what I mean? And so like people were going, like kind of seeing, like kids were sitting there, like lining up, like buying tickets to go see like 4 different movies and kind of just going all day. Like like $3.
Yeah.
Why do tickets have to be $15? You know, there's no need. So. But that just shows.
It is kind of like, that's like a weird thing that we experience that a lot of people haven't. Like, you couldn't pick your seats ahead.
Yeah.
You might go to a movie and it was sold out, so you had to go pick another movie. Especially when we were younger and we got dropped off at a theater, you didn't have a ride to come back later, so you just went to see Titanic instead of something else. And
no, I would never do that. I would like pitch a fit, and I would be like, no, we're staying for the next horror movie. I'm not going to another one.
Oh, interesting.
I used to go to the biggest theaters just to make sure if one was sold out and there was another one an hour later, I'd go to that one.
I was going to ask, did you like make your party stay for like 5 hours?
So me and
waiting for the next showing?
Sometimes my brother and I would go to a theater if we were lucky, and one of his mom would pick us up or whatever, and we used to do it all the time, and she knew. She was like, all right, I'll see you in like 3 or 4 hours. Because the movie was an hour and a half, but it's a 2-hour movie really. And then you never caught the right one. They would always be fucking sold out. So you got to wait for the next showing. So if it was a 5:30 showing and we showed up, we'd have to wait until 7 o'clock or 6:30 or something like that. So
you're so funny.
No phones back then. You couldn't just call your mom and tell her. So they would just show up, be in the parking lot. I was waiting.
If you went to a different movie than what you told your parents you were going to see, and it went longer than what you were expecting, and they yelled at you the entire ride home because they had to wait for you. Those are things kids don't have to worry about these days.
Yeah, what was it? I remember like when my mom would just sit there and buy me a ticket to whatever I wanted to go see. I think I went to go see like Child's Play 2. And then so she just went to go see like Waiting to Exhale like with my aunts or some shit. I'm sitting in Child's Play 2. So like
Stella got her groove back.
Huh? Yeah. That's what happened. Like I was sitting there, like, all right, like they come out, and I'll be like going into the theater looking for like mom.
How did we fucking get on this? We were talking about like
I'm sorry, Nicole.
Conversation though.
No. We were talking about seeing Home Alone in the theater.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So so here's something. In both sequels, he played the same character wearing the same clothes. How about that?
That's really something else. You're right.
He was basically a bellhop, and both did the exact same like, oh, let me get your stuff, and then like was wearing the same uniform. So there you go.
What movie?
He's talking about Scary Movie 2 and Home Alone 2.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, Chris Elliott is a great bellhop, I guess. Yeah.
He got hired, and he was like, "Oh, wear the same clothes that you wore in that movie," and acted.
That was the conversation they had.
Yeah.
Remember the outfit you wore in Scary Movie 2 or Home Alone 2? Wear that one again.
Whichever one came out first. We want the same facials, buddy.
I mean, similar to what Brandon said before, taking a character and putting them in a new setting. I guess, I mean, the setting changed, but Slashening 2 kind of did that, which I guess is what's
100%.
Yeah. I think, maybe a handful of characters returned, whatever, but like took the same story and just put it in a new location.
Absolutely.
So I don't know. Brandon's very creative. This Brandon and Brandon Bassam are very creative. So
Thank you.
Yeah, Brandon Bassam, if you're listening, Come on our podcast.
And Brandon Whetstone, I'm going to tell you, I love the lighting today, man.
Oh, you like that?
It's like this
Ready for
90s neon. I'm a little jealous. And you got like a brick wall behind you or something.
Pain in my ass. No,
You're in an alleyway.
Yeah, I'm actually in New York filming this right now.
He's there with Tim Curry.
Very nice.
Lost in New York.
Is that Macaulay Culkin in the background?
His rabbit ears.
Fucking great.
So,
favorite scene on this one?
Scary Movie 2?
Yeah.
Someone else go first, I'll think.
I was just gonna say anything with Chris Elliott. He was hilarious.
For me, so I know like back in the day, like the Nike commercial played like a big part. Like,
oh yeah, the basketball.
when they would like dribble on the ball and shit. Like, because I would go outside every day and like, because the real commercial had like Vince Carter and everybody in it. Like, you know, Steve Nash, like Jason Kidd. So they would all do like certain tricks, and so I would be outside like doing that. And so when that part came on, and they're just doing all different shit, and like you got Sean Wayne's like humping the ball and shit like that.
Yeah.
Wow, like they just were really creative at the time and just kind of like throwing everything that was in there and kind of like making it funny. So that was one of the main parts too.
It's funny, like our scenes that we enjoy are the ones that like reference things that we liked at the time.
Yeah,
that were like really popular at the time.
That parrot was pretty cool.
I like that parrot too.
Yeah, that parrot, and everybody knew like a short guy who was always the mouth. Be like, fuck you, I'm gonna take you out.
I do love how the bird's like cute too. You know, like the bird's like adorable. It's like, oh, you're like cute little bird, and it's like, fuck you. It's like, okay, like this is, I don't know, kind of confusing me right now, but it's also very funny. Damn, I'm having trouble thinking of my favorite scene in that movie.
The weed monster was probably my favorite.
Which one?
The weed monster.
Oh yeah, and he
Where,
smoked
like,
40. I forgot about that.
Yeah, he rolls him up and starts smoking him. He's like, why are you smoking me? And then they're like, we'll save you. He's like, nah, I'm getting high as fuck. That was great.
Yeah.
Dave,
you know what? Yeah, I guess any scene with Tim Curry in it was awesome. And I guess the dinner scene too.
Yeah. Yep. I was gonna say that, but that's like obvious, like the best scene. But you know what I mean. So that's why I was like, all right, let me go in the book and try to see something that's like was kind of creative that I enjoyed. But the dinner scene definitely was like top notch, like one of the funniest scenes. My germs, you know what I mean? Like ruined the whole fucking dinner for everyone.
And they did say you are the weakest link at some point, right?
Yeah.
They were like making these really weird references, and my son was like, "What are they saying?" And I was like, "Oh, they're referencing this." Yeah. And he's like, "What is that?"
Oh,
and
that's
I'm
not
like,
a thing anymore?
It's a show that was on in 1999.
Yeah, it's still on.
Not see, like.
Oh, okay. Your son does not watching.
That, right? The parrot said that.
Yeah. Yeah, he had no idea when they started playing basketball. He was just like, "What the fuck is happening?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, never mind."
Well, I think that's the thing with all those parodies. They're like time capsules. Which I guess could be completely lost on some people. But if you were, around in that time or have experience there in that time, it's hilarious.
It's really
What's
interesting.
your favorite scene, Dave?
I was just saying anything with Chris Elliott was, I thought was hilarious. And actually, David Cross, I thought like he was just the best. I love David Cross in general, and he was awesome in that film.
Dave, I totally expect you to say when she was jerking him off in the basement.
Why?
I just picture you to like put that in slow motion.
Why? Why is that a thing?
The actress
Is that what you did?
Oh, I put the lights low. I lit some candles. I was like,
right. Don't project your stuff on me, man.
We can hold hands, Dave, next time.
Okay. The actress in that movie, who I forget her name, she like hasn't appeared in much other stuff, and I thought she was great in it. Theo.
Which one was she?
She was so it's funny. So at the end, there's like a Charlie's Angels cut to, right? So she's the redhead, which I assume is like a Drew Barrymore. tie-in. So yeah, she's awesome in it.
Yeah, she got a lazy eye.
But like in a good way, like the good kind.
I don't remember the lazy eye, but I guess it's
neither.
not really something I look out for.
The actress, I mean, the actress, she can do that thing where she looks straight and she can turn her eyes like this way at the same time and make them go back like this. Like what do they call that? It's not lazy eye, it's something else like chameleon eye or something. Yeah, she can do that. It's like a special talent.
Wait, how'd you know this? Did you like Google search this actress's in like I don't know.
It was everything.
She did an interview about it, I think, or something. And you could see it in some of her movies. Sometimes people that can do that, their eye will just go and you won't like, but yeah, if you watch her in this movie, it happens. It happens in everything she's ever been in.
Interesting. Okay. I'll look out for that in her line of work. I'll make sure to take note of that. Good for her, Kathleen Robertson.
There's much these days. I'm sure it's in our IMDb. Like it's a skill only like 5% of people have or something.
Sure.
And I want to say the other part when they were both dissing each other on their disabilities and shit. Like
that was great.
The bigger man just walk away.
I was like, at first I was like, "Ooh, this age poorly?" And I wasn't sure, but I was like, "Oh, but still so well written. Like it's such great like double entendres throughout. Like
give me a hand."
yeah, conversations between Chris Elliott and David Cross. I guess that's the thing about this movie is that it like, I do think some things like didn't age well, but other things it's like rides that line, and I think it like kind of managed it well. Anyway, so yeah, that was really funny.
Stuff was just super offensive back then.
Yeah, that's the thing. Comedy, that's what it just was, no holds barred. Like, everyone got it, and it was just like didn't matter what color you were, if you were disabled or not, gay, straight, it didn't matter. You know what I mean? And I think at that time it was just like, all right, everybody appreciated it. And so I think even like today, like a lot of stuff is censored. You can't say this, you can't say that. And it's like, and it holds back on creativity but this is the world we live in, so it's like some people take it a bit to be offensive, some people don't. So I don't know.
Yeah,
it was just different back in the day.
I think we lose some of the stuff that we can actually joke about. So everything's sexual now. Like everything is a sex joke, and there's like nothing else. There's no other kind of joke like comedy anymore. It feels like so.
Yeah, that's a good point. That and also like awkward, self-deprecating humor, which is like very funny, of course, but it feels like every kind of show is like, you know what I mean? Like it's
I get what you're saying. I tell Josh to stop doing that to himself all the time. I'm like, dude, it's played out, man.
Yeah.
You always put yourself down.
But it holds back. Like even on stand-up comedy, you have like Bill Burr, you know what I mean? That dude just goes off, and then everybody kind of respects it, and it's funny, and it if it's not for you, then it's not for you. But even like Dave Chappelle, but then it's like
right.
Everyone has to be censored now. Like the whole situation where it's like, oh, he said this, he said that, and then it's just like, oh, well, his career is done, I don't know. And it definitely holds back a lot from like being creative, because it's like a lot of shit's not even as funny as it used to be. I don't even think Scary Movie like could even like last kind of today without being like offending someone, and then like saying, you know what, this film really offended me, and we don't want it in the market, so it's hard.
It's kind of like what we were talking about with Toxic Avenger. How do you even make a Toxic Avenger in this day and age? Right. It was super offensive, but then there's even stuff that's like maybe we don't find super offensive in it, still would probably offend somebody.
Man, that however that movie is, though, I like I don't know, pretty pumped that's being made, just because like hopefully it gets more eyes on trauma stuff at the very least, because I don't know, I think more people should have eyes on trauma stuff in general, more independent filmmaking. So I hear you. I am curious about that. I'm excited for that one.
Hey, maybe trauma won't be blackballed. There you go. That'd be cool.
Yeah. I do think they're, I don't know. It's tricky. I think they're more popular than they give themselves credit for sometimes. But also sometimes it's like, I don't know. Anyway, that's just from my point of view too. It's like I had heard of Trauma like prior to working with them, but right, I mean, are they on the level of like Universal or something? No, but I also think that's a part of the charm, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, because like we talked to Lloyd, and like you see so many stars had their start with Trauma, and he, like Sam Elliott, Samuel L. Jackson had his first film with us, and we wish that he gave us a little bit more support and everything like that. And it's
right.
hard because it's like, I'm sure they want to, but it's like it would be like something like, okay, fine, I can't really today because of the crowd of these people will get offended and it could cause an issue in my career, And so it's like hard. It's like, how do you do that? And so I'm pretty sure like they all want to give them respect, and it's kind of cool. You have James Gunn still keeping Lloyd and everyone in the films doing like little cameos and stuff inside of his big pictures and stuff. So that's cool that some people are still able to do that, but some actors aren't.
Right. Yeah, I guess James Gunn has enough of the star power, right? Where he's like back in a spot where he could make decisions like that for himself, right? Like he people kind of know him as the superhero moneymaker, to be blunt. So we have to talk about that in a second. And he that's Psycho Sisters for the listeners. We gotta talk about that. What was I gonna say? Oh, and James Gunn had a Instagram post like celebrating Lloyd's birthday, and he often says like, "This is my first boss," like happy birthday to him, and like that kind of thing. I always think is like super cool. I don't know, like remember where you came from. At this, like I hear you. It's like, people are because you never know how people are going to perceive things. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know, like shout out the little man, especially if you have that much power.
Yep.
Yeah.
Boom goes the dynamite. You know what I found a lot in this movie, and my son didn't understand it.
Which one is the second one?
Both of them actually. Okay. There was a lot of like black and white humor. Like she was like, "White girl needs help," and the ambulance was there immediately. And my son, he didn't get it, and I was like, "Oh, that's," and I was like, "never mind." And that doesn't happen now. You know what I mean? Like you can't say anything like that now.
Yeah.
But in the 90s and the 2000s was a very real thing. That's when the riots were happening and all that stuff. So it was kind of a throwback, and I was like, "Oh wow, remember when?" And
yeah. I mean, I think it's like, I don't know. I think it's also the idea of being canceled is like is intimidating, and sometimes you don't know what, like, you can have the best intentions, which like happens all the time, and it's perceived poorly because of like, I don't know, just it's a challenging world out there creatively. I won't deny. I feel very thankful to be in the independent wheelhouse that I'm in. I'll say that.
I mean, there's other stuff now that gets like spoken about because of the movements that are happening or because of the things that are being more focused. The 90s and the early 2000s are a super interesting time because like Black culture was becoming the mainstream as opposed to just this side thing that people like dabbled in, like hip hop, basketball, most of our like celebrities and comedians and stuff like that. So you're right, Josh. It was like, that was kind of a thing that people would talk about and they would say. And I feel like now there's other things that are coming up that we probably like 10 years from now we'll look back on and be like, oh, we could say that back then. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see like what's the thing that in the future when we look at this time.
Yeah, what was it? The new Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it kind of like played that into the script, where it just had when he was on the bus with the chainsaw and he was like killing everybody, and the kid pulls out his phone and goes, "You're gonna be canceled, bro," and he's like recording them and shit like that. Live. He's just like, yeah, okay. He just fucking like hacked them up with the chainsaw, and it was just like, all right, but it is. It's
I think in like 10 years the cancel thing will be a big joke. I feel like it's already starting to become like more of like an eye roll, but I mean, I guess you had to get to that point in order to get some of that,
that's a good point,
that offensive stuff to stop. And like, there had to be an extreme. I always say you got to go to an extreme before you get some kind of balance. So we'll see.
Wasn't it? Can't we all just get along?
Rodney King. Yes, sir.
Well, that wasn't in this movie. Can't we? Oh, I
I
think
feel
it was.
like they did make a reference to that in one of their films. I think it
Yeah.
was "Don't Be a Menace." They actually said that line. I could be wrong.
Yeah, because they would have all that stuff, like when they would say something and Keenan Ivory Wayans would pop up, message.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Their films are like definitely filled with all that stuff. So
I really want to watch the so Brandon, you sound like a big Wayans Brothers fan. They made a Haunted House and a Haunted House 2.
Yep.
I really want to watch those.
You never watched them before?
No, and I I remember the marketing for them, and I remember them being advertised, but I just never got the opportunity to see them. And then in like reading more about the Wayans brothers, like I was like, oh yeah, I remember those. And like, totally want to watch those just to like, I don't know, like what could have been in the Scary Movie franchise if we kept going, Yeah,
and it was cool. We had Lyndon, who was it Pork Out? Yeah, he was the guy that what'd you say?
Lyndon. I can't say his last name because I'll say it wrong, and then you guys will play it on a loop.
All right,
social media.
Lyndon
get mad at me.
Okay, let Brandon go.
Settle back, Josh. He played the Leprechaun, like in the new Leprechaun movie that was on Sci-Fi Channel. Have you seen that one?
No, I haven't.
Okay. So he actually filmed with the Wayans brothers, and he made the film Little Man. Did you see that movie?
I saw bits and pieces. I remember it being marketed, which I know is like not seeing it, but I remember
So they took his body when he was younger and actually put Marlon Wayans' head on to him. So it was kind of cool. I was like talking to him saying like, how was it like working with those guys? And he was just like, oh man, that family is like so cool. He goes, they bought me my first PlayStation and everything like that. And they would give me like Madden games and everything, and then sent me games saying, oh, get better, punk, and stuff like that. So it's like, it's cool, like, like the experience, like to talk to somebody that's actually worked with them and just knowing like the whole behind the scenes and how they work and stuff. So like, they're definitely a cool family and creative and definitely caring, and definitely like to help people out. Like you said, like I think that was that girl, the redhead's first film, you said?
I'm not sure if it was her first, but like I definitely hadn't seen her in much before and haven't seen her in much since, and I thought she was like great. So anyway,
they kind of give a lot of people like a big break to kind of like to shine and everything like that. So it's definitely cool. So like you said, they matured on a lot of their films, like you said, Marlon with the Haunted House films, and I think they kind of made one like a dance flick too that was kind of like Step Up and everything like that.
Yeah, they did.
So they have so much going on, and then they're still doing it now. They have so much. I think Marlon had his own like show, so
nice.
Definitely go back, check out Haunted House when you see it, let me know what you think of it. It's
definitely.
I don't think it's as good as Scary Movie, but it's creative.
So I wonder if they had their limitations now because of Scary Movie. You know what I mean? Like if they were like how do I want to put it? I don't know. If like if the new Scary Movie, the producers behind that movie, they like didn't have as much creative control because I don't know. But I'll let you know. I'll watch them and I'll let you know. Yeah.
You guys should watch it's on YouTube, Lyndon Porco's making of Little Man. And the Wayans brothers are in that, but like watching like the interactions with him and them, it was really cool. And that whole process of him being the body of Little Man is awesome, actually. That's definitely worth checking out on YouTube.
A documentary, Dave? He didn't bring that up when we talked to him.
Yes, he did. It was a special feeture on the DVD, but you can find it on YouTube too.
Ooh, awesome. That's cool. I'm gonna look that up.
Me too. Are you guys a fan of White Chicks?
Oh yeah, I totally forgot about that film, actually.
Yeah. I am too. That movie's
I like all colors of women. I'm not gonna lie.
Josh, back away from the camera, bro. You're creeping us out.
You know what I'm talking about the movie. That movie is hilarious. I can watch it. That's one of the movies where it's like whenever it's on, I can watch it again and again. It doesn't get old.
I remember I probably seen that movie in theaters probably like 5 times because one of my friends actually worked at the Showcase Cinema, so it's out theater down here.
Cool.
And I would just go, and then like he would just put me on a list. I remember just watching that movie like so many times. I'm like, all right, I gotta stop.
Nice. I respect that. There was a time I used to go to the movies multiple times to see something. Oh my gosh, I'm trying to think the last movie I did that with. I mean, COVID changed so much about movie going too, and prices. Inception, I know I saw a couple times in theaters. When it was out forever ago. But that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, story with white chicks, you can actually tell when they filmed, like time-wise. If you look at their faces, the makeup is really pristine in some shots, and that's when they first started filming. And then as they progressed, they were in such a time crunch, the makeup got sloppier and sloppier. So when you first see them, they're like really tight, like faces, and by the end, they're like hanging down like this and stuff, and they look like just masks that were thrown on. And if you pay attention, you'll notice, and you'll be like, oh, and you can see the timeline of how they shot. It's really interesting.
This is like one of those stories that Josh is telling me that I'm like, is this factual or is he making this up and this is his opinion about it?
This is factual from the Wayans brothers. Do you guys ever like watch an interview or listen to an interview with
I don't remember
people?
doing that interview on PVD Horror.
It's a special effects interview.
Joshua, I'm really sorry. I only listen to PVD Horror interviews.
No.
Sorry, Josh. We're going to actually wrap up the three of us. And it was great having you on the show.
Joshua, thank you for being a guest on my podcast, PVD Horror. I've infiltrated your podcast. So that's something. Yeah. So Joshua has a segment on my podcast, Totally Tunular, called You Youngsters Need to Learn What's Good. He's infiltrated the podcast. Now I've,
Exactly.
trading places.
That was all
Great
Ben
movie.
Johnson and James getting high one night. And I was like, James, you know what? I should be on your podcast. That's what should happen.
Oh, did that?
Can I make a recommendation, Josh? Can
What?
I make a recommendation for you to go on your little segment and do? I didn't mean to say little segment, your segment. Have you ever seen?
You mean my other
I didn't
podcast?
mean to be condescending. That was actually not supposed
No,
to.
it's okay.
That way.
It's like, oh, fuck your daughter.
You ever seen Count Duckula?
What's the recommendation?
Count
What?
Duckula.
Count
Oh, that
Duckula.
was one of my recommendations. I fucking love that.
Count
He's
Count
allergic to
Dracula?
chocolate.
No, Count Duckula.
Count
It
Duckula.
was a
It is.
Nickelodeon
I
cartoon.
used to love that show.
Yeah.
Oh, the show? I thought you were talking about the cereal at first. I was like,
No,
No,
no.
me too. I was like, did I hear Count Dracula? Oh, okay, I see.
Oh, God,
I see. Okay,
She
this
had
does
that
look
really
awesome.
voice.
Yeah, thank
Dave,
you.
You remember that?
I used to love it. Yeah.
Oh, you got it on DVD or something?
It's all the episodes are on YouTube. I used to watch it all the time when I was little. Yeah.
Oh, Dave making a recommendation, stealing my spot. Dave, you should make a video recommendation and then email it to him and be like, I'm stealing Josh's spot.
I need a fake beard. I need a fake beard and fake hair.
Yeah, all 32
you
of our
know
listeners.
she's gonna learn. That's what I'm
will
gonna
really
do. It's gonna be
appreciate
awesome.
it. Yeah, totally.tunular@gmail.com if you want, or anyone wants. We do love emails. Yeah, Count Duckula sounds cool. That's it. Count
Which is
Duckula sounds
really
awesome.
what is your favorite cartoon?
Fantasy shit.
Mine?
Yeah,
Oh my
what's your
God.
favorite cartoon?
Gotta be SpongeBob.
SpongeBob?
Gotta be. Well, yeah, SpongeBob.
You don't like all the like 90s cartoons and stuff like that?
I mean, like Rugrats is other. I mean, I'm like, what I was
Cole
saying.
wasn't even born in the 90s.
We know we're old. We're old. We get it.
I'm not saying anything else. I like Rugrats a lot. I like Hey Arnold a lot.
Yeah, that's classic.
Real monsters.
Real
Yeah.
Monsters. I grew
Doug?
up watching that in the 90s. I don't know. I mean, SpongeBob. It's just like, I mean, I don't know how else to say it. It's just really funny. Like, I don't know, like, it's just like really, I mean, all of them are really well written. Hey Arnold's really well written. So is Rugrats. We watched it recently on Totally Tunular. I was like, oh, I forgot how well written it was. SpongeBob just got that thing. Like, it's just very zany, which I feel like I am. Just like very like bright colors, which I feel like is something I'm, want to watch in a show. I don't know. Are you not a SpongeBob fan? Is that why?
Oh, no, I'm a sponge. I like SpongeBob. It was just like nothing. It's not. I didn't grow up with it. You know,
Okay.
I worked in a group home, and then like a lot of the kids that were there, they would watch it, and then like my kids would watch it.
Okay.
But it didn't hit the same for me as like older cartoons would. But it's a good cartoon.
What's your
I agree.
favorite?
My favorite. Putting me on the spot, huh?
I know. I'm gonna shut the door. Feel free to think about it. 1 second.
I remember. What is it?
Sorry.
He's
I'm
like,
here. Sorry.
let
Okay.
me
Yeah.
go while I leave.
Hold on. Yeah. What's your favorite
Okay.
one?
What's your favorite cartoon? Bye. No, kidding. Yeah. No.
I had a lot, but let's see.
I say
You remember
you can
Street
do one.
Sharks? Remember that?
Street
Dave?
Sharks.
Street Sharks?
Oh,
Wait. Sorry. Say it again.
Street Sharks.
Street Sharks. No, but you guys are giving me
Like,
really great material
even-
for totally
What was
changed.
it? The other day was they celebrated, I think, the 20th anniversary of the Batman animated series. That was a great cartoon
Yes.
series.
That was our
Batman.
first
I
episode.
recommended Pac-Man one time. That was really good, dude.
Oh, you
What?
did.
man.
I said Batman.
Pac-Man. What'd you-
Batman.
Oh, fuck Batman.
Every time you went to
Animated
say,
one.
he just kept saying Pac-Man over you.
Batman, I like that one. Yeah.
We
Yeah.
Brandon, we watched James spearheaded Totally Tunular.
Okay.
And he was like, okay, like you guys could be a part of my podcast, whatever. Actually, he reached out to us, like, you guys be on my podcast. First episode has got to be Batman the animated series. He is a huge Batman fan.
Yeah,
So, and I really like that one and hadn't seen it before.
that's cool.
Yeah.
I like a lot. Doug. So
Doug was my favorite.
Oh yeah, Doug. What's your favorite Dave, Doug?
Doug.
Is that your favorite cartoon? Yeah,
Yep.
Doug.
Yeah.
I also prefer the I think it's a cold take. I prefer the Nickelodeon one before.
Oh yeah, not the Disney one. No.
Yeah, no.
When he got older, no, that wasn't for me.
Yeah.
I liked
yeah.
Rocco's Modern Life too.
Oh, that's classic.
Yeah. That Rugrats and Doug were probably my two favorite, but Rocco's and Our Real Monsters, Ren and Stimpy were great as well.
Dude, have you fucking seen the clips of like Ren and Stimpy? Like now, like all the things that were like shown in that thing on that cartoon. It's like fucked up.
I'll have to look that up.
There's a lot of shit in there that's kind of like fucked up. I'm just sitting there, just like, wow. And that's the thing too. A lot of people say that about like SpongeBob has like a lot of adult humor to it, but it's like sometimes I don't see it. I don't.
They
it
tried saying that was supposed to be like a mature rated cartoon on MTV or something like that. I think originally.
Yeah.
Wait, Ren and Stimpy?
No,
SpongeBob.
SpongeBob.
Oh, what?
Yeah, I don't see it. You know what I mean? They're like, this isn't for kids. We had one of the kids that were at me and Dave's job. We worked at a group home, and I know his mom was like really against it and saying like, oh, we can't watch SpongeBob. And then we had one kid that could watch it all the time. So it kind of like
Yeah, so then we just give in.
Like this is his favorite show. So
Yeah.
we shut it off.
Yeah.
What is it?
Beavis and Butthead is coming back, isn't it? And I used to love Beavis and Butthead.
That's
I-
awesome.
I've discovered so many like bands that I didn't know of at the time through Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah.
That's
That movie's
amazing.
on Paramount Plus. It's actually good.
Oh, it's already out.
Yeah.
Check that
And they're
out.
gonna have like a show too, but the movie's on Paramount Plus. So
Ooh, that's awesome.
Butthead fan, definitely check it out.
I like I think it's by the same creators, King of the Hill, a lot.
Yep.
Yeah. Mike Judge, yeah.
Yeah.
What is Boma? What's his name? The dude that you couldn't understand.
Boma.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I don't remember his name, but that is a good character.
Okay. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
I've got a lot to add to the list for Totally Tunular for sure.
You guys ever watched that Eon Flux?
yes.
Mm.
Yeah.
Remember that one?
Oh, yeah. I got
That was wild. It's not like it's like for adults. That one and the Max. Did you guys ever watch the Max on MTV? He would turn into the Beast.
I thought you said the
I would have to look it up. I think I
Like
remember it though.
Those two were cool. Josh,
But-
was the Max the one where the guy had the giant head? He had like a
What?
super tall head and it would open up and a creature would come out. Is that the Max?
I don't remember. I didn't like Max. Max was originally a Image comic, and Eon Flux started when they had Liquid Television,
Yes, I used to love
That's
liquid
sure.
television. I've never heard anyone talk about it.
And then it became so popular that it became a comic book line, and then they had their own TV show based on the comic. So
yeah,
and then they made a fucking movie.
Charlize Theron, right? I think was in it.
Yeah. Flux was great, dude. Especially, you know what? Liquid Television was great, and I know what you're talking about. That was actually on Liquid Television.
I used to watch Liquid Television all the time, and because they would mix cartoons and then they would have music videos sometimes.
That's awesome.
That was a very cool show.
What about Rick and Morty? You guys like Rick and Morty?
I've never watched.
I don't watch new cartoons.
Dave, you gotta check out the first episode. I'm pretty sure it's the first episode of Rick and Morty. They have they make fun of like Freddy Krueger, and it's like this guy just saying, "Hey, bitch."
I've seen the guy. I just never knew what it was. Oh yeah, there it is.
This guy.
Oh, nice. Oh, I recognize that poster.
Yeah, I got the comics, dude.
Good
shit.
Dude.
You know what? I used to get up at like 5:30 in the morning, and that's when the cartoons would first come on.
Yeah.
And we had oh man, the cartoon with Roo and Floppy, and they were all like, it was Nickelodeon like Junior before it was Nick Jr. And I can't remember the name of that cartoon. And then there was like this Rabbit Family would come on. So it was like 5:30, 5 o'clock, and then Spartacus and the Rising Sun would come up on the weekends. And that was the really like before the sun would come up lineup. And it was the best lineup for a young child. And then they had then Voltron would come on, followed by the Herculoids. And sometimes they would switch out the Herculoids with Thundar. So yeah, good shit.
You know what, Nicole?
Yeah.
We're gonna have you back on, and we're gonna do an episode.
Thank you.
Goosebumps versus Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Oh,
that's really interesting. Yeah, I get it. By default I would say Are You Afraid of the Dark, but
oh hell yeah.
They both have we'll have to discuss the details of this before we do it, because I want to know what I need to binge. Because are you talking like the Goosebumps like series?
The series, yeah.
Because I haven't seen any of those. I've seen the old Are You Afraid of the Darks, but I'll have to watch them.
Oh, and that's a good point, Dave, because I think they rebooted Are You Afraid of the Dark? And
yeah.
I don't know. I didn't hear.
Brandon watched that.
What do you think? I mean, I didn't hear great things, but what do you think? It doesn't.
Well, I think this is the second one that they did. I had seen the first one, and it was like really different because the Are You Afraid of the Dark, like each season had like a different episode. It kind of just like changed. Yeah. When the new reboot that they're doing is just one long story with like 8 episodes. So that was kind of cool. Like that, you kind of like stay in that same thing, the same story and everything like that. But other than that, it doesn't hit the same as the originals.
Yeah, that is it. Because I feel like, especially as a kid, I didn't know it was called an anthology, but that was my first, time watching a horror anthology. So there's something special about that, right?
Yeah.
So that is interesting. I'll have to check it out.
Are you talking about the movies or are you talking about the TV shows?
TV shows. Or you can throw the movies in there too if you want.
Sounds like we got to binge up on a lot of stuff here.
Oh man. Well, you know what? Every episode was different and there were so many, especially like those Goosebumps episodes.
Josh, save this for the episode.
Oh, here we go.
Here you go.
Yeah.
Right. We should probably wrap up pretty soon because we've been chatting. Josh is going to pass out and
we didn't.
He's got to work in 2 hours, so.
I mean, we really talked about, I feel like, the best scary movies out there. For anyone that enjoys 3, 4, and 5, I don't know, send me an email at totally.tunular@gmail.com. And, I mean, I got things about them I like, do I like them generally? I don't know, but I have things about them I like. I'll talk about them, but I won't waste your time talking about them. They're kind of rough, but thank you guys so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. Make sure you rate and review PVD Horror, because apparently we don't ask for that, and we probably should start. Follow us on all social medias. You can find us everywhere and everywhere. And, totally Tunular and totally recommend this dude. Definitely check them out. Rate them. They're on the Fantasy Shed Network. Boom. I got you, Nicole.
Good night, everyone.
All right, thank you guys.